Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to the voicemail edition of Achtung Millwall. Always a cracking show. Now, in a packed programme today, dear listeners, we've got quite a few voicemails to get through. But before we get into anything at all, you want your pundit question, don't you? I know you. This is the reason why you tune into Achtung Millwall. Punditgames.co.uk, the number one football trivia quiz game, is the perfect gift for Christmas for the football head in your life. Select the Achtung Millwall drop down when you're ordering, and the Lions Food Hub gets a little dropsy as a consequence, which is very nice. That's the reason why we do the show. That's the reason why we are working with Pundit on such a fantastic product. But just to give you a quick taster of the kinds of questions to expect in this football trivia game, you get 5 questions in a row correct, and you score a goal, beat your opponent over 45 or 90 minutes. But this is the kind of question you can expect. This is one for the older listeners out there. I'm sure one or two of you are going to get this quite quickly. This is an England national team question. So this is a Chelsea legend, a goalkeeper who made 700 appearances for the Blues for Chelsea, keeping more than 200 clean sheets despite his heroics at Stamford Bridge. He rarely featured for the England side. But when Gordon Banks went down with food poisoning at the 1970 World Cup, this man was brought in and was made the scapegoat as England squandered a 2-goal lead, never playing for England again. I think you'll all know this. Anyone of a certain age will know this. If you don't know this one, then you are too young to be listening to Achtung Millwall, dear listeners. So, Chelsea legend, played in the 1970 World Cup when England lost famously to West Germany, I think led 2-0. Who is that goalkeeper? You know who it is. We're going to give you the answer at the end of today's show. But for now, we're going to roll the theme music, and then we're going to be talking initially to Neil Fissler, and then an absolute torrent of voicemails. Thank you for listening, dear listeners. Answer at the end of the show.
Hello?
Hi Nick, Jim Hackett here. I thought I'd send this voicemail in at half time of this game because if that's what we've got, then I don't know if I could make the whole of the next 45 minutes without smashing my phone up. Having watched us get absolutely ripped to shreds by Ipswich, I can't think of anything else to blame but the manager for the team he's put out. If he didn't watch the game on Saturday and see where the problems were and work on our defence, then he's got nobody else to blame for what's turned into an absolute bloody shambles. For a professional football outfit that can't pass the ball and he wants to play a passing game, I think the one thing we did get with Gary Rowett was a defensive shape that actually they had to work hard sometimes to get through us. This team, Ipswich, they've not had to get out of second gear to run through us from the first bloody minute. And I don't know if I can do the second half because it's just driving me mad. And I've been bloody texting and bloody trying to vent me feelings on the dog, and he's not taking any interest in me. So it's the only way I can do it. So I thought I'll put this in at half time and hopefully send a second one later on when the match is finished, that we've had a much better second half, because if he doesn't change things, I think it's going to be a very short reign for Joe Edwards, because this isn't acceptable, what we've just seen for 45 minutes. Cheers, Nick. Come on, you Lions.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to the Achtung voicemail show. Always a favourite of mine. Whether it be so after last night's debacle at Portman Road, I don't know. But joining me just to lead us off before we switch over to your voicemails, it's our show regular. Always a welcome guest. It's Mr. Neil Fissler. How you doing, Neil?
Well, not too bad, mate. Not too bad in the grand scheme of things. It's only a game of football, isn't it?
We were just discussing that, weren't we? Oh, the importance that we all attach to the doings of sports teams of whatever bat and ball or whatever sport you want to pick out, really. But yeah, Millwall's 3-1 loss last night at Portman Road versus Ipswich, who I thought looked a very, very good outfit. And by contrast, Neil, we gave them the time, space, and opportunities to look brilliant. It was a strange match last night. The lack of drive and verve in our side was evident for me. I think some big problems on Joe Edwards' plate.
Yeah, I think we've got a big cancer in the club, and that cancer is our dressing room. We've got a set of players who hid behind Gary Rowett and made him the scapegoat for their
The
failings.
fall guy. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. He's left us in a bit of a state. There are areas of the team, like our defence, that needed addressing, and he was too busy signing midfielders and inadequate defenders, and it's left us in a whole heap of problems. But those players now have got nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go for them, except for out of the club, because that's make no two bones about it. It was shocking. It was absolutely
Embarrassing performance. Embarrassing.
It was, and everything you said about there being no drive. Yeah, we just stood there and watched them play football, didn't we? Yeah, you can't really say an awful lot without going all Harry and start swearing, but it just, oh, mate, I'm still at a loss. But the problem is the dressing room. Like a lot of things at Millwall, from the top down, people get very comfortable, and it's a perpetual problem at Millwall is that people get too comfortable in their existence.
Yeah, no, I make you right. I don't know why we fall foul of this so much. Other clubs maybe they do. I don't know them, so perhaps not. I don't know, but I agree. There are elements in that squad that let Gary Rowett down. I've just had a similar conversation with Harry and the boys on our first show, but I think that it doesn't really matter to some extent, Neil. It doesn't matter what instructions the manager issues. I mean, whether you like the formation or the approach, whether it be defence or attack-minded football, whatever way you want to, whether you're trying to play like Pep or you're playing like, I don't know, Neil Warnock or whoever, if the players don't take 100% or give you 100% when they go onto the pitch, whatever your tactics, you're being shortchanged. I think Gary Rowett was shortchanged by this squad. I don't think they gave him 100%, particularly in the latter period. And Joe Edwards, clearly going by his post-match press remarks and on Mill TV, sees the same thing, because he that was 3 weeks in. That was quite a press conference to give, where he's basically saying players are, not giving they lack quality and they're not giving him 100%. I think that's quite an indictment of the squad, personally.
Yeah, no, I would wholeheartedly agree with it. Teams know where we're weak and they exploit where we're weak, and that's down, and that's our defence. Murray Wallace has been quite a good servant to this club, but unfortunately, it's one season too many, and it's a continual problem at Millwall. We are too loyal to people that we ought to have shifted on in the summer. Yeah, well, I know we've only got a small budget, and we've only got limited resources in comparison with other clubs. But you're not telling me that we couldn't have sorted this out in the summer. We're too loyal, and that starts from the Berylsons down. Everybody I've tried to actually be too loyal to people, and it's coming back and it's biting us in the arse. I think we're lucky that there are 3 worse teams in this league than us, and
So far,
yeah, us at the moment. But we are in freefall. We are absolutely in freefall. Thank God we beat Plymouth. Thank God we beat Sheffield Wednesday.
We got stuffed on Saturday. It was a stuffing. I know that there's some have taken some elements from the Saturday's match, 3-0 versus Coventry, and said that there were some positives, perhaps. I don't know. But when you're getting thumped 3-0 at home, and then We were thumped inside the first 15 minutes last night. Neil, we were 2-0 down. They were having chance upon chance. They hit the crossbar. Bart was performing his standard miracles in goal. We could have been 4, 5, you name it, 6 even, arguably, inside that first half. Dire, absolutely dire defending. And it's the left side, you know. Yes, we can all talk about Murray Wallace, who will give you 100%, but has his limitations. But it's also some of the midfielders. I mean, the shot for the first goal, the player, was it Chaplin for Ipswich? I can't think of the boy's name now. I think it was Chaplin. Had hours of time to pick his spot on the edge of the penalty with no one challenging him, and that's unforgivable. I don't care that we're playing a passing style, and maybe that's a bit different to Rowett ball, as we came to call it. These are professional footballers. They should be able to do some basic things, which is challenge and pass the ball to their own players. And it seems beyond them. I'm fascinated by how you can make it so far in a career. It's like you and me not being able to type, or string a word together, and yet somehow you've achieved a position. You know, it's fascinating to me. But we were just woeful in some pretty fundamental areas of the game last night. I find it quite almost beyond description.
Yeah, but we can't pass the ball 3 yards, can we?
Don't seem so.
Yeah,
No.
we can't keep hold of the ball for more than 3 seconds. Well, 3 seconds would have been a miracle, I think, for most of the first half last night. Yeah. There are serious problems. I actually think in midfield is one of our better positions.
Right.
Yeah, but it probably is, to be fair. Yeah, but it's probably a position where if Saville plays well, and he has played well, let's be honest, except for last night. He didn't have a good game last night.
Last night was a mare all round, I think. I mean, the likes of Fleming and Longman didn't do anything last night, I think. But
yeah, no, Longman. Why in the earth are we signing a player that isn't good enough to get in Hull's side? Hull aren't Manchester City. They're in the same bloody division as we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, the questions. I mean, some of the choices. I mean, I get a need to freshen the side up, as the football cliche has it, after a 3-0 shellacking on Saturday. So I slightly struggle with bringing Hutch back into defence in place of Jake Cooper, because I'm not sure you're really gaining much by that. But I don't understand how Longman is. I don't see what he's bringing to the side particularly. I thought Fleming ghosted through the whole game, Neil, last night. I mean, I know he's a good player, but you got to show it. Like I said, I think on a previous edition, if you don't show it, you're no use at all to anybody, are you?
Mate, I think we've said it all season. I think that he had his head turned in the summer, and I'll continue to say that he had his head turned in the summer. He doesn't really want to be here, but the challenge to him is to play well enough so he isn't here. But at the moment, people are going to take a look at him and think he's absolute dog shit.
Unless he wants to go back to Holland, back to the Netherlands football, which there was an interview with him on Mill TV where he said the pace of the game in the Netherlands is not as hot as it is in the Championship. Well, if you aspire to be anything more than playing at this level, it gets hotter still in the Premier League. It's not. It's
breakneck in the Premier League, isn't it? Christ.
Well, you've got. And there's no room for error. I mean, maybe we should have taken the Burnley money. I don't know. But there we are.
Increasingly like we probably should have taken the Burnley money. But obviously we had our valuation and they didn't meet that valuation. So, but we've got to stop making excuses. I think the time now is getting where Joe Edwards, he said we weren't going to see radical change. I think was the
words to that effect. Yeah.
When he first took over, I think the time is, son. You've got to start kicking some heads in that dressing room. You have to start upsetting people, and if people aren't in your plans, make them train with the under-23s. Yeah.
Hello, Nick. Hello, listeners. Ben Anthony here, calling in on Thursday after the debacle of last night against Ipswich. I don't think anyone's going to have been hugely surprised by the result. I certainly wasn't expecting us to get anything from the Ipswich game, but it's the manner of the defeat that counts. And it was so poor, wasn't it? The first half I thought was absolutely atrocious. I think it might be the worst we've been this season, although I think the Norwich game was also really, really terrible. We didn't offer anything going forward. We weren't able to string a pass together. But the defending was all over the place. And I listened to Joe Edwards, his words after the game. He had an interview with Sky, and he's also done an interview with the club. And in both he says the same thing. He talks about the requirement to do the basics. He talks about the requirement to stand up and have a bit of fight and have a bit of pride in themselves and keep your heads up and work together and fight together. And I agree with him. I didn't see any of that from the players. We've spoken before the Rowett sacking about the fact that the players have to take some responsibility for the poor performances this season. It can't all be the manager. I don't lay any blame with Joe Edwards. I think it would be ridiculous for anyone to, because he's a couple of weeks in, and the players should be giving absolutely everything they've got to gain a place in this team and get a place in his system, and prove what they're worth. And if that's what they're doing, I mean, Christ, they've all got to go. It's absolutely awful. So I've got the problem last night is with the players, and I do agree with what the manager said. I thought it was very bold what he did say, and I hope that it gets a response on Saturday. And I hope that the crowd back the team and as we always do, and that they do respond and they do pay us back a little bit, because that was absolutely awful. The defending is so basic and really, really poor last night. The first goal, it's just a calamity. Failure to stop a cross from coming into the box, failure to respond to win the first ball, the first header, and then no one anywhere near getting the second ball. And it's just an easy shot. And actually, I say it's an easy shot. There's about 5 bodies in the way, but the pathway opens up for the shot to go through to the goal. It's not Bart's fault. Bart, again, I thought was man of the match. He played really well, but made a couple of miracle saves again. So it should really have been about 6-0. I think we were lucky to lose 3-1. I'm not even going to talk about our goal. What a waste of time, because what's the point? There's a big job for Joe Edwards to do. And some of the players need to learn some hard truths. And I think some of them have just got to go. It's not been good. Hopefully we'll be a bit happier on Saturday. But yeah, right now, I've even had a day to think over it and try and calm down. But I'm still fed up. I'm still not happy. I'm not ready to get over this one yet. Anyway, talk to you next week. Bye.
Hi Nick, Danny from Calgary here. First time calling in. Love what you do, mate. Keep it up. Just want to say I didn't expect anything today, really. But that first half was shocking, really. I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of that starting lineup, to be honest. But I don't think you can point the blame on Edwards just yet. I'm not really sure how the club thought that defence was okay going into after the transfer period. You knew Murray Wallace was done. He's just not good enough. I know we got Joe Bryan, and obviously he's injured. But yeah, we needed to add to that defence. The 2 lone players we got, I don't know what's going on there. Obviously Denore is a great purchase, but everything else is it's just not really great, is it? Hopefully he can change it around. Obviously, I want to see what he can do in January, see who he might bring in and who might leave. But yeah, hopefully onwards and upwards, because we're looking at that relegation place now. So anyway, common new lines. Cheers, Nick.
Achtung, Millwall.
I agree. I think something radical surgery is required, because there was no. I didn't see much spirit on Saturday. There was certainly no spirit last night in the side. We were getting pushed around by the opposition. There's no Millwall stand your ground quality. I think someone posted online. It might have been Phil actually, who said Imarku took a bash in the first half. Where were our players to back him up? You know, this is basic Millwall mentality, let alone whether you're any good or not. You back your mates in that situation.
It's a
And
sign that they don't care. Yeah,
yeah,
getting
yeah,
paid. Yeah, but they're getting paid their 10 grand a week, whatever they're on, and they'll be on good money because they're playing in the championship.
yeah.
But they just do not give a monkey.
A hoot, a monkeys, whatever you want to
Really do
call it.
not care. Yeah, we've got players in that back four. Hutchinson. Why in the earth is he still in our side? He's not good enough. I'm quicker than him, and I've got a knackered bloody knee. Yeah, honestly,
I
Murray.
think it's what the point you made earlier, Neil. Is this lack of the best sides, the top sides in football, and the recipe is not difficult to see. They are ruthless. They kill their darlings in the big moments. You know, players are moved on when their moment has passed. Assessing that that's the art form of the game, I suppose. But we've never been any good. I think we still think that Hutch now is the Hutch of 3 or 4 years ago when he was a crucial player. But these moments do pass, and we certainly haven't moved anyone on that's going to change that so far. I imagine that's the scale of Joe Edwards' task. It's actually looking on a similar scale to the turnaround that George Graham achieved back in 84, 85, was it? When was it? No, the 83, 84 season, when he almost produced a
Yeah,
new team.
yeah, but 83, 84, 84,
That's right.
85, he only brought in 2 or 3 players, I think, at the start of that
But he
season.
almost reshuffled the whole side, Neil, didn't he?
He,
To escape relegation.
he did. But he needs to do something now, Joe Edwards. He cannot stick by these players anymore, because you've just seen that these players, they just couldn't care less. They really couldn't care less. They're picking up their wages at the end of the month, and they're quite happy, aren't they?
It's a baptism of fire for him. I mean, he has no managerial experience other than, reserve team football, and so on at Chelsea and Everton, England, blah blah blah. So it's a big moment, because these are the kinds of moments where top managers earn their crust, and finding a route through this. He's chosen to go public with his criticisms of the squad on the club's television service and also with the press. So that's out there now. You can't keep on playing that card. You do have to back it with change in the side. I think that's the only thing he's got left. And I can guess, Neil, because we don't have a vast number of resources to play with, it's going to involve bringing some of the kids in
Well,
to at least give him honesty.
yeah, well, yeah, but let's be honest. Yeah, but they can't be doing any worse than the
Well,
than
no, they can't.
senior
No,
players,
they can't.
are they? I'd personally like to see Ryan Leonard given a go at centre back.
Well, same as. I mean, I know he's fragile, and we all get that. But certainly, he'll bring some form of leadership to to the back line. I mean, there's many of the youth players. I mean, you could probably always argue that what's the other cliche? You win nothing with kids, but at the same time, we're winning nothing with experienced players. So
Yeah, we ain't going to win anything with donkeys, are we? That we've got. But let's be honest. Yeah, but let's be frank about it. Yeah, we've got a load of car horses, and we ain't going to certainly win anything with them, are we?
no, 3-0 down at half time. Should have been 4-5, in my opinion. Anyway, we got through to half time at 3-0. Second half was a routine knockabout for Ipswich. I don't think they really ever needed to get out of third gear. Certainly didn't need to shift into fourth or even fifth. And we got a goal via via Nisbet late on. I noticed online that Tom Bradshaw's getting slaughtered, Neil. I think that's slightly unfair. He wasn't given much service last night at all. He's leading the line. He will chase, and I guess that's compared maybe with a player of more talent such as Nisbet. People might look askance on that, but I think he's actually one of the more honest players in that side. If you're looking for faults last night, you've got to be looking further back in the side. I'd certainly look at that front three of Honey. Imarku was taken out half time, but otherwise Fleming and Longman. I didn't see anything out of those two last night at all.
Yeah, well, it isn't rocket science. How did that goal come about?
The first one,
ball into the box.
Yeah,
we put the ball into the edge of the 6-yard box, and Nisbet finished.
Oh, the Millwall goal. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. Yeah,
No.
we've been saying it for quite some time. You give these players service, and well, there's quite a good chance that you might score a goal.
Or produce big.
Yeah, every Millwall side has to have a scapegoat, and at the minute, it's obviously Longman.
Bradshaw, I suppose, up front.
That's the first time I've seen Bradshaw get any kind of stick, because he does run, but he is starved.
Yes.
Yeah, one thing that goal did prove was that if we have players out wide and they can get the ball into the box, there's quite a good chance we might score. So it's just so frustrating. What's George Honeyman done since he's been here? He runs around a bit, and
yeah, he didn't do much. I didn't understand the substitution. I mean, Joe Edwards would have to explain why you're taking out Marco. I've done nothing wrong for me. I mean, in that first half,
I don't want to slaughter Marco, but he's got a lot to learn.
He's got a lot to learn. I do agree with you there. Yeah,
he went down too quickly, too often.
Yeah,
I think he was brushed a couple of times, and
he went down like a deck of cards, didn't he?
Yeah, he can't do that. Somebody needs to say, if you get a reputation, we're going to get nothing. Well, we get very little anyway. So if you keep on going down, we're going to get even less.
Yeah.
And even if you are fouled and you get that reputation, you've got the doubt in the referee's mind. It's only a small group that get to referee.
Yeah, and the names get known, don't they?
Yeah, we'll talk to each other. Yeah, and they'll say, "Oh, yeah, no, I've got Millwall this weekend. Oh, problems I had with that and Marco last week.
Yeah,
coming down too easily, and that plants a seed, doesn't it? And things
we can do with all the help we can get. We've got Sunderland on Saturday now. I mean, I must admit, I actually went to watch Mill play Coventry last Saturday, listeners, with a degree of optimism, but I can't say I'm looking forward to seeing what happens Saturday, because it's maybe if there's some radical change, it'll be an interesting afternoon. But at the moment, it feels like we're just waiting for the next pounding, and that's not what we're used to at the Den, is it?
What we're missing is we're actually missing what Amarku's got, and that's pace.
Yeah.
Bit of pace. And it takes a lot off it. And Sunderland will come down here and they're going to be thinking, 3 points here today, boys, if we don't commit Harry Carey or something similar.
Yeah.
But it should be the kind of game that we're up for, because I think there's going to be a big crowd in which I think is proving a bit of a hindrance, isn't it? Every time
it's a very Millwall situation, isn't it? I mean, I think the Sunderland end is pretty much sold out. I'm going to guess it's going to get close to another sellout, because they're a big name, big club, and people will turn out to watch them. And
we also have all the tourists in town.
Tourists are in town. It's one of the big fixtures of the season. The Millwall playing Sunderland is a big fixture in our season. And I'm going to guess it's going to get close to another sellout. as you say, how this has come to pass, I don't know. But the more sellouts we get, or the near sellouts, the less we perform. I mean, I keep coming back to the same basic point, Neil, and I think we're probably both singing from the same songbook. That there's a fundamental lack of spine in that side. It's comfy. It's got comfy, and there's no Millwall bollocks in the side. You know, there's no one that's going to really not accept getting beaten. And I think we just give in too easy. Last night we gave in way too easily.
Yeah, but the whole club's in cruise control. You try spending money at the club. It's impossible.
Yeah.
The whole club has got. I hate the word culture because in this kind of. But the culture of the club is wrong. Everybody's in cruise control, and there are some very good people that work at the club.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
I don't want to tar everybody with the same brush. Yeah, but you can't spend money. Somebody wanted to buy an executive package, and nobody got back to them, and
I saw that. Yeah.
things like that. It's just. It needs somebody to get in that club, and it needs somebody to kick a few asses, to be quite
Shake it up.
And that's exactly the same as in the dressing room. Yeah, but the players wield too much power.
Hello?
Hi, Nick. It's Matt Richards here. Well, that was awful. Absolutely awful. I genuinely feel we're going to lose by 2 or 3 on Saturday. If nothing changes. Jack Clark is just going to have a field day. You just imagine. He'll be licking his lips. Every day between now and then, we just need to be on that training pitch working on shape. I mean, we just need to face it. Our players can't play the way he wants them to play. Murray, Hutch, Cooper, Harding, they're not suddenly going to be able to play the ball or turn into Usain Bolt. They're tryers, but they haven't got the pace and they're limited in the capabilities. And you've got Norton Cuffy and Mark USA. They're not going to suddenly be raw. They are raw. And then we've got Leonard Bryan. Always going to have an injury. Bradshaw's not suddenly going to turn into Johan Cruyff. So the big question is, will he be able to bring in players that can do what he wants them to do, and when? Because that's the concern I've got. Is that if I've got Saturday, Cardiff, Leicester, if we could be down in near the bottom 3 or close. We're near the bottom 3 already, but actually in the bottom 3. So it's how big are Beryson's pockets? What sort of conversations have been had with the management and Aldo to bring in players, because we're going to need players if he continues to play like that. Otherwise, we need to go back to how Rowett used to play. That's how Rowett did well. Like it or lump it, it was pragmatic, practical football, which got us there by hook or by crook. Wasn't exciting, but what would you rather have? What would you rather have? After yesterday's performance, Saturday's performance, what would you rather have? Anyway, that's all I can think of at the moment, really. It's a tough one. Just fingers crossed for Saturday. Okay, cheers, Nick. Come on, your lines.
Hello, Nick. Bill Slack. This is a re-recording of what I recorded last night. Because I was a little bit emotional, and I think I sounded like a complete knob, even more of a knob than I usually sound, if that's possible. I'm 53 now, which I know is a spring chicken in your terms, but I've seen relegation seasons before, too many of them, to be honest, and this feels like a relegation season for me. We've lost any semblance of an organised football team. Usually with relegations, all sorts of things come together. Change of manager, change of style, Mick McCarthy, Jimmy Nicholl, anyone. and that combined with the complete loss of confidence in the side, complete lack. I mean, we're bereft of anything that remotely resembles a championship side at the moment. I mean, I re-recorded this because it sounded like I was being quite harsh on Joe Edwards, which is completely unfair. He really does speak well, whether that's an awful lot of expensive media training at his various other jobs, I'm not sure, but I think my issue was always with his inexperience and just how much adversity he'd had in his career up to this point. Would I rather have a manager in charge at the moment that had 300 championship games under his belt? I probably would. I mean, surely the key to any good manager or coach is that you set up the side with what you've got. And I think that if you can, work all week with a set of players, work on Ipswich's strengths, what they're gonna do, what they're strong at, which is exactly what he said in his post-match interview, and then those players run on the pitch and almost do the complete opposite. Either the players are a little bit thick and don't know what they're doing, or you're not getting across what you expect of them. So I think that combination of the change of manager, quite a dramatic change of style, and the quality of the squad, the confidence of the squad, says to me that we are bang in trouble. I don't know where the next win's coming from. Let's be honest with Ipswich last night. They stopped playing in the second half. Quadruple substitution, game's over, took the foot off the gas. You see it almost every time a team goes 3-0 up at half time. Usually ends up 3-0, 4-1, 3-1. That's exactly what happened to us last night. They took their foot off our neck. So I don't take any positive out of the second half. Nice to see Nisbet scoring. I wouldn't suggest otherwise. I was sitting there watching it last night and I didn't go. And do you know what? Fair play to all those that did go. I mean, being subjected to that in that weather, I just, utmost respect to you. But what I was thinking last night, how many of our players are getting that Ipswich squad? I think they'd have Denore as a squad player. I think they'd probably take Fleming, keeping their fingers crossed he actually played to his potential. Although that is it's a distant memory at the moment, isn't it? With him, I don't think any other player in that squad gets in that Ipswich team. They'd almost certainly take Eze as well, but he's not even playing for us at the minute. So yeah, I am worried. I'm a bit miserable. I don't want to see League One football down there. We're in a position now where we've made this statement appointment of a manager, and that board will stick with him through thick and thin. But the doom monger in me says, well, 3 tough games coming up. Is it beyond the realms of possibility that we lose all 3? Then suddenly we've lost 5 on the spin, and the whole atmosphere around the place just deteriorates, gets worse, and we all find ourselves in a really horrible position, more horrible than we're in now. But I'll be there Saturday, hoping that the penny drops for some of them and we learn to defend again. But yeah, this was far more reasoned than the nonsense I shouted at the phone last night. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Nick.
Achtung, Millwall.
I mean, it's early in the reign of Joe Edwards. I mean, already I'm seeing all sorts of nonsense on X. I mean, I don't go on the House of Fun anymore, but I'm guessing that there's going to be people calling for his head already and all the rest of it.
Yeah, there are people saying that it could be a disastrous appointment, one of the worst ever. And do me a favour, Charlton have got plenty of seats down the road. Fuck off down there.
They've got a big stadium, that's for sure. I mean, I think I like We don't know how it's going to work out with Joe Edwards. I mean, I think we've got to say that, listeners. We don't know how it's going. No manager's career is ever set. Things happen. But you look for what is his aspiration. He's trying to get us to play the next level of football. And I've had this conversation already, but are we forever just going to be a League One to lower championship bounce team, backwards and forwards, playing fundamentally 4-4-2 with some version of Steve Morrison up front and Lee Gregory a lookalike alongside him? Or are we going to try and play the kind of football, Neil, that has taken teams upwards? Because we've all seen where the traditional Millwall style gets us. It don't get us far enough if we're going to be ambitious. I do think James Berylson is ambitious. I do think that he's hired Joe Edwards with the intention of taking us to that next level. Now, the change will be painful, and last night was a painful start. But I don't disagree with the aspiration. Otherwise, you're forever accepting that you're small time, that you're, a kind of a Rotherham United where you go up one year, go down the next, and that's your bobbing level, between those two leagues. I think we've got to look for a bit more than that out of our time on this planet.
Yeah, I think that part of the problem is we haven't got the players to play the way that he wants.
No, I agree there, 100%.
Aren't good enough. The players we've got aren't, or some of them are not good enough. And I was thinking the other day that he's really got a free hit this season, Joe Edwards. I think that it's concerning that I'm reading that people are saying, oh, well, the club have already said there's not going to be that much money to spend in January. We need to spend money in January, otherwise we are.
Well, yeah, but also it's not good business practice. I mean, I am not a businessman, listeners. I've never made my living in a profitable industry, but you don't go around advertising how much money you've got to spend before you go into the market, do you? It's like me rolling into a car showrooms, Neil, with a stack of 20s sticking out of my top pocket. You're there you're right for the taking.
But you don't want to start pleading poverty.
No,
that place is because then if you're an agent who do wield the power,
yeah, there's a balance to be struck. I take that point.
And the ambition's not there, they'll think, and I don't know. Something needs to be done, and something needs to be done radically.
I'm hoping we've got enough in our squad, and with, as you said already, the three worst teams and us, to at least survive. Because I think if we don't get it right in January, we do have a problem. But we're a long way short of talking relegation yet. But that's the monster that lurks on the horizon.
I don't want to mention the R word because I think there definitely are three worse teams than us in the league. I think you can
for sure.
But then again, I would settle for fourth bottom at the minute.
If you could freeze the season, what a carry.
But then again, Millwall have played in the last 3, 4, 5 years. We've had these awful spells, but then we've put in quite a decent little run of results where we've gone unbeaten for 8, 9, 10 games. And we've hoisted ourselves right up the table, but unfortunately, at the moment, you can't see that happening, can you? You just wonder where it's going to come from, and there's just no desire, no fight. There's no anything really, is there, within that?
Nothing on offer last night. Let's wait and see what Saturday brings, and see what radical change that Joe Edwards can muster up. I can't let you go, Neil, without mentioning your books with victorpublishing.co.uk. Story of the season was 1964-65, 65-66, and 89-88, 87-88. I'm missing one. Which was the other one I'm missing?
I need to do it because...
you do it, because you'll know it.
64-65, 65-66...
Yep.
Just finishing 71-72.
Right.
75-76.
75-76.
I believe 84, 85 went live a couple of days ago. 87, 88 and 88, 89.
Prolific stuff from Neil there. They're very, very good books, listeners.
Yes.
If you're looking for a stocking filler kind of present, I think these are fantastic. You can get them via victorpublishing.co.uk. Excellent accounts of some of the most landmark seasons in recent Millwall history, certainly. But no, I recommend them. I've really enjoyed. I've got the four of them. The 75, 76 was the one that didn't spring to my mind as I'm yapping away. But each one's excellent, Neil. And you got little snippets of information about the wider Millwall world at the time as well.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Yeah, but it's the only thing prolific apart from our run of defeats at the minute, isn't it?
Neil's all for shit.
and
the Achtung Millwall calendar, which will obviously benefit the food hub. There's a link on the my X feed. You can use my online shop if you don't want to do that, and I don't blame you if you don't want to do that. You can pick up a copy at Kelly's Lions Food Hub stand behind the Coldblow Lane end on Saturday, and also there's the Mill Supporters Club stand also behind the CBL end. They've got calendars there, tenner each. They're in little envelopes, so you don't have to get them battered up. And they support the work of the Lions Food Hub. Excellent charity. They're able to. So far, we've managed to generate £200 for the charity. Christmas time is coming, so do get one if you're in the mood on Saturday.
but if you're not in the mood, get one. Otherwise, me and H will come around and talk to you for an hour.
Yeah, you don't want that. I'm going to leave it there. Big thank you, Neil Fisher, for joining the show today, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, mate. No problem at all.
Hello?
Hi Nick, Jim Hackett back again. I managed to keep hold of my phone for the second half, and it wasn't much better, but at least if there's any positives, at least we've got a goal. And I think the goal showed that Nesbitt, with his layoff, his movement and his finish, probably should have started the game, but that's another one for the manager, isn't it? I think the more I watched the game, the more I thought you look at all the players we've got at our disposal. He made big statements when he came in. Aldridge made the big statement when he came in, and so did everybody else about the thorough process they went through to get Joe Edwards in. Now, he saw what we had. He wanted to take the job. So if he can't get more out of those players, then I wonder how much he did see that we had, because with the best will in the world, that wasn't a head coach or a manager inspiring players. And this is only his third game. So if he can't inspire them a bit better than that, to actually work a bit harder, to fight a little bit more, and to show a bit more passion and a little bit more professionalism as footballers, then he's going to be looking for another job pretty soon, isn't he? Because that was woeful. The match for us was over in 15 minutes, and it shouldn't be like that. We're a better set of players than that, and I'm not having it. It's the players, because they're good or they're bad, but they will take inspiration from their manager. And for me now, Joe Edwards, I'll give him till Christmas, but I'll tell you what, if this is what we've got to look forward to, he might not last till Christmas. So let's live the fight again and hope that there's three other worse teams than us, because I think looking at us tonight, other teams will be looking at us like we looked at Sheffield Wednesday and we looked at Rotherham, and we're heading that way ourselves, and we weren't that way before. So hopefully we'll push on and improve. So let's wait till Saturday. Come on, you Lions.
Hi Nick, Lawrence Binney here. Never has the phrase men against boys ever been so appropriate in describing a game of football. I'm actually still watching it. It's about 70 minutes. But let's face it, nothing's gonna turn around at this point. Kind of riffing off the men against boys cliche. Watching us attack is a bit like, when you have a little kid and you take something off him and you put it on a shelf, and you watch him kind of get a chair and try desperately, vainly to try and get it back off that shelf. But the shelf is like 12 foot up near the ceiling. And you watch him sort of jump up and down, huff and puff. And it's sort of pitiful. That's kind of what watching us going forward is like at the moment. And then defensively, it's like throwing a toddler into a rugby field. You know, just watching them get absolutely flattened by superior footballers, grown men. I don't know what's gone. I don't know what's gone on. I watched the Coventry game. I was at the Coventry game, and thought we played some nice stuff. Blunt in attack, but you know, probably lost the game at key points. This has just been dreadful from start to finish. Absolutely no tenacity, no bite, nothing at all. Nothing. We look slow. We look unfit. We're unable to keep the ball. There are several players in the squad that are clearly not cut out to play the kind of football that Joe Edwards wants to play. And we are going to have to ride quite a fucking storm of shit, I think, before he gets his ideas implemented. We need about 3 or 4 players. Definitely need a centre-half. Definitely need some width. Need a striker. Jesus. Fucking shit.
Hi Nick, Stephen, the Devon exile here. Last night against Ipswich, we were up against a side that are playing very, very well with extreme confidence, but most importantly, they've got a very firm set identity. They knew where they were playing, they knew where they were passing, they knew where they should be positioned, etc., etc. They had a game plan. That was up against us, who were in absolute shambles. We basically have we have taken on Joe Edwards, which is fine, but he has adopted a squad that does not have the skill set or the mindset, because of previous regimes playing cautious football, that fits with his ethos. He's used to having a wealth of talent from the Chelsea under-21s, the England under-21s and so on at his disposal. Let's face it, half our squad are League One standard or below. However, we do have enough spirit, enough skill set in many of the players that we have got, and we have the potential to produce a side that will play a game of football that we, the Neanderthal hordes of Wall fans, expect. One with fight, one with direction, one with understanding. Now, look, the M25 wasn't built in a day, and this isn't going to happen overnight. To expect it to do so is ludicrous. However, it's going to take many transfer windows, patience and investment from Berylson, culling of this squad that we've got, and finding some unearthed gems to actually have a team that are out there that are going to play the football that Joe Edwards ideally wants us to play, an effective game of football, an effective team spirit, an effective team performance. And it's going to happen if we all stop bitching our asses off, as we usually do, and show a bit of patience. Now, last night was embarrassing. There's no two ways about it. But there's still hope. Come on, you Lions.
Hi, Nick. Angelo here, mate. I didn't go to Ipswich. I watched it on the telly, mate. I just wanted to give my say on proceedings this evening. A bit worried with the manager calling out the players after 2 defeats. Like, he keeps going on about the basics. I've not got a problem with him roasting the players, but I'm just not sure whether he should be doing it publicly. You know, maybe that should be like, even the pundits and the Sky Studios were going, you know, that was a scathing post-match talk from Edwards, you know, going on about the basics. And yeah, I'm just a little bit worried. I'm still, you know, listen, it's early days. I'm backing him. Yeah, 100% I'm backing him. But maybe a little bit of inexperience is coming out here, because on a managerial side, with the TV, the media, etc., but I just don't think he should be doing that I think that should be behind closed doors. Do you know what I mean? He should just come. He should be coming up and on the screens and trying to be as positive as he can. But obviously he's frustrated. Like they said, he's worked with class players all his life, and now he's got to work with our mob. So yeah, a little bit worried, but like I said, I'm backing him. I'm backing him, mate. Yeah. We're playing a little bit better football, but wasn't happy with Cooper getting dropped. I don't think you should drop Cooper. I wasn't happy that Longman played, but credit to Longman, he's one of our better players tonight. Yeah, so he proved me wrong there. Imaku, if you're going to play Imaku, you have to play him up front. You cannot bung him on a wing. The guy's not a winger. From what I've seen with my eyes, Imaku is not a winger. When we put him up front against Preston, he was dangerous. He was causing them problems. So Imaku, no more on the wing, please. If you're going to play the kid, stick him up front. If not, send him out on loan because, he just didn't do anything, did he? And got to bring Leonard into the team, mate. We just got to bring him in. We just need some more solid, some more solid players in there. But yeah, listen, Ipswich are a very, very good team, and yeah, we got annihilated that first half. Nisbet looked a lot brighter when he come on. Bradshaw doesn't do it for me, mate. Nisbet's got to start, but yeah, that's it really, mate. That's all I want to say, Nick. Terrible, but we got to keep fighting on. We've got a couple of more tough games. We've got Cardiff and Leicester, very tough games, and Sunderland, obviously. And then we've got a run of games that we can win, mate. So let's hope he sorts these guys out, mate. But we'll be there on Saturday, and hopefully we'll get a result Saturday. Come on, you Lions.
Morning, Nick. Jim Littler. Just a few observations from last night. It seems that Joe Edwards has inherited a Fiat 500 and everyone expects him to compete in a Formula 1 race, to be honest. Listen, it's going to take a lot of time to find out about the players. He can watch as many videos as he wants, but until he's working with them every day and seeing them in matches close up, it's only then that he's going to realise how much dross has been brought into the club by a certain person. And those people that were brought in, they were brought in to play a certain way, which was negative defensive football, and to a certain degree, it was successful. But if we're going to change it and we want to see a more exciting team and a more attacking team and quick team, the fella's he's got to be given time. The only thing I was a little bit disappointed with last night was, all right, drop Cooper, fair enough, but how Murray Wallace kept his place in the team, I'm not quite sure that was the right thing to do. He's got Malarkey, who's this young kid who was superb for the under-23s. It's got to be time to give the boy a go. Same with Essay. He's hardly played any minutes under Joe, and you've got to question what's he seeing in training that makes him think that Essay can't make a difference to this team. Because we think as fans that Essay's got all the qualities to open defences up and get us on the front foot. The other thing which I was very disappointed in really was the top for Imaku coming off and Honeyman coming on. If you're going to drop Honeyman, well, actually, if you go back to Saturday, he brought Honeyman off after an hour on Saturday, which suggests that, he didn't think he was playing particularly well, not that any of them were. Then he drops him, but then he brings him on at half-time, when he could have quite easily brought Essay on at half-time for Imaku. Or just leave Imaku on. You can't keep just blaming the younger players if it's not working out. And I think that we've got to give him time. I've said on the old Twitter last night, or X, whatever you want to call it, that it's only 3 games in, it's not time to panic, but if he's making these sorts of decisions 10, 15 games down the line, then yeah, I'll be the first to question how good a coach he is. It's a bit too early to be questioning it just yet, but I was a little bit surprised at one or two of the choices he made last night. I appreciate that, he's got to try and get points, and he's got to try and work out the team and how we're going to go forward and change the style of play while still getting points on the board. Because the Championship's it's a brutal league, as we know, and yeah, we are down there, but we ain't going down. 100% we're not going down. I'd rather he just spent the first 10, 15 games chucking loads of different players in, a lot of the kids, even some of those, the young uns like Tom Leahy, Abdul Malik, get them in around that first team, get them minutes on that pitch, because I'd rather we lose games 3-0, 3-1, 4-0, 5-0, whatever it is over the next few games, having had a look at these young kids that we've got and this talent that we've got, because there's no point saying, well, we'll get to January and then we'll bring a load of loan players in. The loan players over the past couple of years are part of the reason why we've actually not taken a step forward, because they come in on loan. They're not Millwall players. They've not got loads to play for. They come in, they take a wage, and then they invariably go back to their clubs. How many loan players have we signed? That will tell you the answer. Hardly any, if any. So I'm not overly disappointed. I'm not overly unsurprised, if you like, that we lost to Ipswich. They're a good side and they're clinical, and their 3 goals were clinical. I mean, you could say schoolboy defending. I watched them again this morning, and I think the first 2 definitely. We had 7 players in the box and have still managed to get the shot off and have scored the goals. But I do feel that it's still early days. He's got players that I'm sure if he was picking a team from scratch, from a selection of players that he could go out and get, then most of these players in our team wouldn't actually be in our team. We've got 3 or 4 definite first teamers, but the rest are much of a muchness, and the guy just needs a bit of time. So listen, we go again against Sunderland on Saturday, another home game which will be not far off a sellout. Hate to say it, we'll probably struggle again, but let's just start to see a little bit more of, like I say, the talent that we've got. That would be my message. So anyway, well done to the 1,300 odd who went last night. It was absolutely Baltic. So I'm sure they had a fantastic journey back. So well done to them. And listen, keep your chins up, boys. Come on, you Lions.
Morning, Nick. Oh my God, that was a tough one to watch, that's for certain. I said on the call-in show on Sunday that I was looking forward to last night's game. Reasons behind that was because Ipswich are at the top, they have a style of football they play. Millwall are changing their style, and it's 2 young coaches that want to play the football the modern way. Let's just put it like that, I think. And that's the reason. So we got up here, -1 already at 6:30. That's always a good start. But from the kick-off, well, the team lineup, I'll go over that in a second. But the kick-off, it's like we started hoofing it, and I was like, "Hang on, this is not on the script." And I just feel that with that set precedent for the actual remainder of the game. The lineup, he dropped Cooper, whether that was injury or form. It was a weird one. Bringing in Hutchinson now. Again, Hutchinson, he's a great servant for the club. But to come back into that environment, so just like that for me was alarm bells. But it is what it is. The only thing I could think of, Nick, really, is that he wants to see as many players play in different formations as quickly as possible so that he can make his final, as you could say, best 11. That's the only thing I can think of, and that's why dropping Cooper was the reason. I can't really praise anyone last night. The only people we could praise is 1,200 of us that decided to come up here in freezing temperatures, in which that depleted very quickly after 40 minutes after the 3rd goal went in. But Millwall always got one in the locker, haven't they? That they play absolutely shambles, and we were taught a valuable, very, very valuable footballing lesson last night. But he needs to, as I said, it's a rocky time. It's a rocky part of the season. It's going to be a rocky month. Let's just hope we could just get some positives in the next few games, because Christ, Ipswich away. We've now got Leicester away coming up. We've got obviously Sunderland on Saturday. They're not, and Cardiff away. They're not going to be easy games. But then no game in this league is easy. So I hate to admit I did leave after 75 minutes. I just too cold, and to be fair, I couldn't even see after the game. The fog was coming down like no tomorrow. But I missed Nesbitt's goal. I had to watch it on TV when I got home. But yeah, he's going to wipe that one away from the memory, I think, and just see what happens on Sunday. I think Sunderland are going to bring a good crowd. So whether we have a good crowd now, but then there's, I believe there's train strikes, so that's going to probably hamper some of the travel arrangements of some of the Millwall fans. But nevertheless, we roll on Sunday. It is nice though to see a manager apologise to the fans though. We've never had that, but then I think we don't want apologies. We just want performances and results on the pitch really at the end of the day. It is what it is. Anyway, onwards and hopefully upwards. Come on, you lads.
Morning, Nick. The morning after the night before. Well, we've seen what can happen when you want to play Championship football with a League One defence. It just doesn't work. He's got a major rebuilding job on his hands. There's not really much more you can say about last night. We were taught a lesson. Ipswich and Coventry are everything that Joe Edwards wants us to be, and I get that. I wouldn't mind watching that every week, to be fair. But James is going to have to back him in January, because we can't keep shifting goals like that. That's unacceptable. Players at least were told at half time that it was unacceptable. We played a little bit better in the second half, but that's only because Ipswich took their foot off the gas at 3-0. Well, why wouldn't you? Still, can see why Rowett left now. He could see that this was a League One side trying to play Championship football. Well, still, we move on. Sunderland on Saturday. Come on, you Lions.
Hi Nick, David Blake here. Well, that first half an hour was dire, wasn't it? Worst I've seen for years. One up front's not working. As much as I like Bradshaw and he runs around a lot, starting him on his own is not working. He needs to play someone with him. Possibly Nisbet. Don't know who else we've got. Imaku was a boy against men. Needs to come off. He can't start. He might be okay with 20 minutes to go, but he's not a starter. Fleming, waste of space. Not putting a shift in. Drop Fleming. Start Leonard. At the back, well, we've seen how Hutchinson can freshen things up. No chance. Give him a rest. Bring Cooper back in. And we need somebody to replace Wallace. He's great. I love him. But they're picking on him now. Every game. They know where to start. And he's getting battered. We need somebody, anybody with a left foot, anybody with one leg. Just somebody to play in that place. Because he's a liability and we've been found out. Good old Bart, a couple of good saves at the end. What can you say? Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
And the answer to that question, the punditgames.co.uk question at the start of today's show. Chelsea legendary goalkeeper, played over 700 times for the Blues, but didn't succeed with England. Unfortunately, he was in goal when West Germany beat us 3-2 in that World Cup quarter-final of 1970. Very, very famous game. The answer to the question is Peter Bonetti. Of course it was Peter Bonetti. You knew that, listeners. Of course you did. You're a mature audience that's been around the track a few times. I hope you enjoyed our pundit games.co.uk question. Great Christmas gift. Thank you for listening to this extended edition. I'm sorry for the voicemailers. Normally I try and give a bit of reaction, but there were so many to pack into today's show that and also time was tight. I just rolled them in back to back. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for everyone's contributions. Let's hope for a better on Saturday. versus Sunderland. Until then, thanks for listening. Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.